When your cat turns her back on you and looks away, most people feel a small sting of rejection. But here's what animal behaviorists have discovered. That moment of turning away is one of the most profound acts of love a cat will ever give you. And what makes it even more remarkable is that it's rooted in a survival instinct so ancient, so deeply wired into every cat alive, that even 10,000 years of domestication haven't been able to undo it. Today, you're going to learn 10 of the deepest compliments your cat gives, but only when they truly love you. And some of these are so subtle, so easy to misread, that most owners have spent years receiving them without ever knowing what their cat was actually saying. Here's the thing about cats. Most people assume that feline affection looks like enthusiasm, rubbing against your legs constantly, meowing for your attention, following you from room to room. But real feline love doesn't announce itself loudly. It whispers. It tucks itself into moments so quiet you could blink and miss them entirely. And for years, you may have been missing them. Not because you don't love your cat, but because nobody ever taught you what you were looking at. There's one signal on this list that stands apart from all the others. A moment so intimate, so biologically loaded, that it represents something closer to a sacred offering than a casual gesture. We'll get to what that really means near the end of this video, and when we do, it's something most owners say they wish they'd understood from the very first day they brought their cat home. 1. Turning their back on you, the act most people read as indifference, and the one that actually means the opposite. In a moment, this is going to completely change how you interpret one of the most common things your cat does. But first, think about what a cat's most precious possession actually is. Not warmth, not food. It's awareness. Cats are both predator and prey in the wild. Their eyes, their peripheral vision, their constant environmental scanning, that vigilance is the thing standing between them and danger. So when a cat sits near you, turns their body away, and calmly looks in the other direction, they have just voluntarily surrendered their most critical defense. They are no longer watching you. They have decided, consciously, biologically, that you don't require watching. Think about what that means. A 2019 study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that domestic cats retain the same threat assessment behaviors as their wild counterparts in unfamiliar or stressful environments. The suppression of those behaviors around a specific individual is a measurable sign of earned safety, not routine, not habit. Earned safety. Your cat has assessed you and decided that your presence actually reduces their need for vigilance at all. Most owners go their cat's entire life thinking this posture means indifference. Their cat has been offering them one of the most ancient gifts in the animal kingdom, and they never knew. To your cat, turning away from you is the equivalent of setting down every weapon they have. It says, "You are not something I need to protect myself from. You are the reason I don't have to." Most people never get this. Their cat spends years sitting quietly nearby, calmly facing the other direction, speaking fluently in a language no one ever translated for the person in the room. So the next time your cat sits beside you and turns away, don't nudge them to face you. Sit quietly. Understand what you're looking at. You've been chosen as safe. And that is where all of this begins. 2. The quiet purr, the one that has nothing to do with asking for anything. Here's where most people get this completely wrong, and it matters more than you might think. Not every purr sounds the same, and not every purr means the same thing. Research from the University of Sussex identified a specific type of purr, sometimes called a solicitation purr, that embeds a higher frequency cry inside the vibration. This version is louder, more urgent, and it is specifically designed to trigger a caregiving response in humans. You know this purr. It's the one that happens at 5 in the morning near the food bowl. It's the one that feels almost impossible to ignore. That purr is charming, yes, but it isn't about love. The purr you want to notice is the one that's almost too quiet to hear. Low frequency, steady, barely audible from across the room. Sometimes you feel it before you hear it, a faint vibration against your leg, your chest, the back of your hand. This is the comfort purr. Scientists believe the frequency range of this specific vibration, between 25 and 50 Hz, actually promotes bone density and soft tissue repair in cats. They're not just purring, they're healing. And they are choosing to heal next to you. Here's what most people never realize. Cats don't produce this purr in a state of high arousal or performance. They produce it when they feel genuinely calm and genuinely safe. It's not a request. It's not a message intended for you. It's an expression of an internal state, and you happen to be the reason for that state. Most cats guard this purr for moments that truly earn it. If you've heard it, your cat wasn't just content. They were telling you something they had no other way of saying. Stay with me, because the next one involves a part of your cat's body most people have never thought to read, and it has been speaking directly to you this whole time. 3. Relaxed whiskers, fanning forward the invitation you've been walking past. Whiskers are not decorative. They are precision instruments connected directly to the nervous system, so sensitive they can detect changes in air pressure, spatial dimensions, and even subtle shifts in the surrounding environment. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Neuroscience noted that the follicles supporting a cat's vibrissae carry sensory data faster than most other nerve clusters in the feline body. When a cat is anxious or defensive, the whiskers pull back against the face, reducing sensory exposure and protecting themselves. When a cat is neutral, they extend horizontally. But when a cat tilts them gently forward, fanning them out and slightly downward in front of the face, that is something else entirely. That forward fan means openness. It means curiosity without caution. In the wild, this posture appears in cats approaching something they have already decided poses no danger. They're moving toward it not because they have to, but because they want to. When your cat does this while looking at you, they are choosing to approach you not out of habit, not out of hunger, but out of genuine interest. You are something they want to move toward. That is not a small thing for an animal whose every instinct is calibrated around deciding what to approach and what to avoid. Most owners walk past this signal their cat's entire life. The whiskers fan forward, the cat pauses and looks up, and the moment passes unacknowledged. Your cat was extending an invitation, and nobody answered. And hey, if this is starting to make you see your cat completely differently, hit subscribe. The whole channel exists to help cat owners understand what their cats have been trying to say. Every video goes deeper than the last. 4. The upright tail, with the curved tip, a greeting that belongs to the language of family. Before we get to this one, here's something that reframes everything. The tail position your cat uses when they see you for the first time each day is not random. It is one of the most deliberately meaningful signals in the entire feline communication system, and most people have never been told what it actually means. A cat's tail communicates threat, excitement, fear, and arousal, depending on its angle and movement. But the tall, straight-up tail, with a small curve or hook at the very tip, behavioral researchers have traced this specific posture back to kitten behavior. It is the greeting posture young cats use when approaching their mother. It signals, I recognize you. I trust you. I welcome you into my space. When your adult cat walks towards you with their tail held high and the tip curved like a question mark, they are not simply excited to see you. They are categorizing you not as an owner, not as a provider, but as family, as someone who holds the same emotional position in their world that their mother once held. The safety, the warmth, the unconditional presence. Think about that for a second. Every single day, if your cat greets you with that curved tail, they are repeating a childhood gesture they once reserved for the only being in the world they fully trusted. Most owners see this and think, my cat is in a good mood today. What they are actually seeing is a declaration of belonging. Their cat has decided they belong to each other, and that is not something cats do easily or often. Now here is where I want to introduce you to someone. Her name isn't important. What matters is her situation. She had a 7-year-old gray cat named Milo. Milo was, by her own description, the most aloof and unaffectionate cat she had ever known. He didn't sit in her lap. He didn't seek her out. He would watch her from across the room with what she could only call polite disinterest. For years, she told people her cat tolerated her. That's the word she used, tolerated. She loved Milo with everything she had, and she had quietly accepted that the feeling wasn't mutual. What she didn't know, what nobody had ever told her, was that Milo had been giving her the deepest compliments in the entire feline vocabulary every single day. She had been reading all of them as nothing. We'll come back to Milo. Because what he was doing in those years of apparent indifference connects directly to something coming up, and when you understand what it means, You'll see why the quietest cats are sometimes the ones loving the most deeply of all. 5. Scent, mocking you with their face, choosing you as part of their world. When your cat walks up and rubs the side of their face against your leg, your hand, or your cheek, most people read this as a cue reflex. Some people understand it as territorial behavior, which is technically accurate, but that framing misses the emotional weight entirely. Yes, cats have scent glands along their cheeks, chin, and forehead. Yes, when they rub those glands against you, they are depositing pheromones that carry their unique chemical signature. But here's what most people don't realize. Cats do not scent mark things they consider threatening or unimportant. They scent mark safe places, beloved objects, and trusted companions. The pheromones deposited are the same chemical signals used in commercial calming products to soothe anxious cats. Your cat is tagging you with the scent of safety. A 2017 study from Lincoln University found that cats in multi-person households selectively scent-marked specific humans even when other adults were equally present and equally attentive. The marking wasn't about access or opportunity, it was about preference. Your cat is choosing whose smell to mix with their own. And when they choose you, they are doing something deeply personal. They are saying that your presence and their presence belong together, that you are not just someone they live with, you are someone they want to carry with them. Milo did this to her every single morning. She thought he was just rubbing against her leg because she was standing between him and his food bowl. 6. The soft headbutt being greeted as an equal. Here's the part most owners never find out. There is a meaningful difference between a cat that rubs against you and a cat that headbutts you, and that difference matters. Rubbing is affectionate, yes, but bunting, the gentle forehead-to-forehead or forehead-to-hand contact that some cats offer, is something else entirely. Ethologists who study social feline behavior have observed bunting almost exclusively between cats with established trust. It does not appear between strangers. It does not appear between cats who merely coexist. It appears between cats who have reached a specific kind of bond, mutual recognition. To your cat, a headbutt is not submission and it's not dominance, it is equality. They are greeting you the way they would greet an ally, pressing their scent glands against you, yes, but also physically entering your space in a way that requires they lower their own defenses completely. For the duration of that contact, your cat cannot see clearly, cannot assess the environment, cannot easily flee. They have entered your space with their eyes mostly closed and their body turned toward you. That is a conscious choice against their own survival instinct. And they've made it because you are worth the risk. The cats that headbutt most often are frequently the ones that have decided their human is the safest creature in their world. The cats that headbutt least may love just as deeply. They've just found quieter ways to say it, ways that most people spend years walking right past. 7. Sleeping on your chest, choosing your heartbeat over silence. There is a reason cats choose certain sleeping spots over others, and warmth is only part of the answer. A 2020 study in the journal Behavioral Processes examined feline sleeping preferences in multi-person households and found that cats consistently chose to sleep on or against the individual they had the strongest bond with. Regardless of body temperature differences or physical proximity at bedtime, they weren't choosing warmth. They were choosing a specific person. When your cat lies on your chest specifically, something even more precise is happening. Your heartbeat and breathing create a rhythm, low, steady, predictable. Behavior researchers note that this rhythm closely mirrors the sensory environment of early kittenhood. When kittens are pressed against their mother's body, surrounded by her heartbeat and the rise and fall of her breathing, your chest to your cat is the closest thing their adult body can find to the first safe place they ever knew. You don't just provide comfort, you represent the origin of comfort, the biological memory of safety from before the world contained anything to fear. And here's what makes this even more striking. A cat who sleeps on your chest has already assessed every other sleeping option available. The cushion, the patch of afternoon sunlight, the blanket folded at the end of the bed. They chose you. That is not convenience. That is preference. That is love expressed through the most fundamental biological choice a cat's body can make. 8. The belly display, not an invitation to touch, but the highest offer they can make. Almost every cat owner has been scratched trying to rub a belly that was clearly on display. The confusion is completely understandable, because visually, a cat rolling onto their back and exposing their stomach looks like a request. But here is the truth most owners never learn. The belly display is not asking for physical contact. It is a declaration of emotional safety. It is your cat saying, I feel safe enough near you to expose the most vulnerable part of my body. That is the statement. That is the entire compliment. The belly protects vital organs. In the wild, exposing this area to another animal is a potentially fatal vulnerability. The instinct to protect it is not trained out of cats through domestication. It remains fully intact in every domestic cat alive. So when your cat rolls over in front of you, hindquarters tilted, belly open, head tipped back, they have made a conscious choice to override one of their deepest survival signals because of you. Because your presence has made their body's alarm system go quiet. If your cat allows you to gently rest a hand on their belly without retracting, without tensing, without the reflexive kick of those back legs, you have reached a level of trust that many cat owners, even deeply devoted ones, never experience. Not because they haven't earned it, but because nobody ever told them what they were seeing when their cat offered it. Remember earlier, when I said there's one thing on this list that most owners say they wish they'd understood from the very first day? We're almost there. And it connects directly back to Milo and what he was really doing all those years. She believed he simply didn't care. 9. The slow blink, choosing to be briefly defenseless because you are there. This is it. Of everything on this list, this is the one that carries the most weight. And paradoxically, it's the one that lasts the fewest seconds. When your cat looks at you and then slowly, deliberately closes their eyes and keeps them closed for just a moment longer than a normal blink, that is the single most intimate gesture they are capable of giving you. And here is exactly why. Cats do not close their eyes in the presence of uncertainty. A 2020 study from the University of Exeter, the first of its kind to rigorously test this interaction, confirmed that slow blinking is a bidirectional signal of positive emotional communication between cats and humans. When researchers directed slow blinks toward cats they had never met before, those cats were significantly more likely to slow blink back and then actively approach the unfamiliar human. The slow blink does not just signal safety, it creates it. It is an offering and an invitation contained within the same single gesture. But here is what the study alone doesn't fully capture. The slow blink requires your cat to accept a period of genuine visual impairment in your presence. For 3, 4, 5 seconds, they cannot fully see the room. They cannot track movement. They cannot react to sound with their full sensory system engaged. And they have chosen to enter this state while looking directly at you. Not in sleep, where the brain cycles through unconsciousness regardless of surroundings, but awake, alert, deliberately choosing to be momentarily vulnerable because you are there. In the evolutionary language, every cat still speaks. Closing your eyes in front of another living creature is one of the highest risk behaviors you can perform. The cats that slow blink at you from across the room, quietly, consistently, across years of an ordinary evening, they are not tired. They are not blinking because the light changed. They are looking at you and choosing every single time to briefly stop defending themselves because you are the reason they don't need to. Milo used to slow blink at her from across the living room every evening without fail while she watched television and he watched her. She thought he was just drowsy. When she finally learned what it meant when someone sat with her and showed her the research and explained what those half-closed eyes were actually saying, she cried. Not because she had been missing a cute signal, but because she understood that for 7 years, while she had been quietly wondering if her cat loved her, Milo had been looking at her across the room every single evening and telling her the answer, patiently, consistently, in the only language he had. She just hadn't known how to read it. Your cat's slow blink is not a small thing. It is them choosing every time they offer it, to be briefly defenseless in your presence, because you are the reason they feel safe enough to do it at all. 10. Grooming you, taking responsibility for your belonging. Cats groom each other, a behavior researchers call allo-grooming, almost exclusively with animals they consider part of their core social group. It is not casual. It is not accidental. Allo-grooming in cats serves multiple functions in feline social structures. It distributes shared scent across group members, reinforces social bonds, and communicates a specific kind of commitment that has no direct equivalent in human behavior. The closest translation is, I am responsible for you. I will care for you the way I care for myself. When your cat begins licking your fingers, your hair, the skin on your arm, they are not being quirky. They have not confused you for another cat. They have simply placed you inside the most intimate circle of their social world, the circle of beings they feel personally responsible for maintaining. Evolutionary biology researchers note that allo-grooming in cats is almost always initiated by the more socially confident individual in a bonded pair. It is an act of caretaking, not of dependency. Your cat is not asking for anything when they groom you. They are giving you something. They are saying, you belong in my group. I will maintain that belonging. I will keep you close the way I keep myself whole. This goes back thousands of years to the earliest stages of cat social behavior observed in wild felids. Grooming another individual is not instinct, it is choice. And every time your cat chooses to groom you, they are performing an ancient ritual of inclusion that their biology reserves for the beings they have decided matter most. In cat language, this is the full circle of love. The slow blink says, I trust you with my vulnerability. The grooming says, I take responsibility for you. Between those two gestures is an entire relationship, quiet, patient, ancient, and as real as anything that has ever passed between two living creatures. So, the next time your cat turns their back on you in the evening, or watches you from across the room with eyes half closed, or rubs their cheek against your hand on the way past, know what you're seeing. Not indifference, not habit, not coincidence. A language that has been spoken to you steadily for as long as you've shared the same space. You just needed someone to translate it. Your cat has never needed you to understand every word. They've just been waiting, quietly and patiently, for you to realize they were speaking at all.